تبعتوا لنا حاملات طائرات. انتوا باللي عملتوه خلتونا فخورين بنفسنا. انا رافع راسي فوق انه كل العالم الظالم اتآمر علينا، ومش اتآمر بس بالكلمة، لا، ببعتوا صواريخ وببعتوا طيارات وببعتوا حامل تناقل طائرات وببعتوا جند وببعتوا كذا وببعتوا جيش وببعتوا استخبارات. اوف، هالقد غزة قوية. انا افتخر اني من غزة، افتخر من هذا البلد اللي اتآمرت عليه ورغم كل العالم هذا اتآمر علينا وبساعد وببعت طيارات ودبابات وصواريخ ادوات البطش. انا افتخر اني من غزة.
I completely understand why there's such a steadfast faith to anyone that follows Islam. I understand why there is such, even in anguish as you watch Muslim Palestinians who are being brutally exterminated. As you watch this, you are still seeing them say Allah is all-knowing. You know, as they are holding their family members grieving, mothers holding their children, fathers holding their children, thinking about their mother, they're being told, thank God, show thanks to God, show praise to him, show understanding of his wisdom. And when you read, just from reading the second surah, I'm like, I get it. I understand why such faith could show up even in such dark times. I finished the second surah last night, Al-Baqarah, which is the longest surah in the Quran. And I finished it last night because I think I was on verse 120, 125 or something like that. And I was like, I'm just going to read a little bit of it just to help turn my brain off before I fall asleep. No, I read the whole rest of it and I was just like, wow, it's very difficult for me to put into words just how much I appreciate the wisdom in the Quran. And again, as someone that has zero knowledge other than what I was taught to believe about it, my expectations have been completely it's exceeded my expectations. It's completely changed any preconceived notions I had about the Islamic faith. And it is very peaceful reading through this book. I think that's the simplest way for me to describe it. It is very peaceful and it's also very matter of fact in a way that you're like, no, yeah, that makes sense logically. There's a logic to it. I feel like as someone that grew up in a Christian environment, and I have to specify this because my last video I had to turn off the comments because there were a lot of Christians that did not like what I was saying. I grew up in a Baptist environment at home, but I was taught by Catholics. And in both settings, logic was not encouraged. I don't know if it's the same for you, but I know that for me and the environments I grew up with, when it came to the Bible, asking logical questions were not allowed. When I read through the Quran, I see logic and mysticism. I see logic and divinity brought together in a very matter-of-fact way that as you read it, it's like, yeah, I completely understand why there's such a steadfast faith to anyone that follows Islam. So I'm excited to keep reading more. Everyone keeps telling me, wait till you get to the math and the science stuff. And I'm like, yes, that's the stuff that I want, because I don't ever think growing up when I was talking about religion that logic, science, mathematics, all that, none of that stuff was able to be brought in. I literally remember sitting in class at Catholic school being told that IVF and genetic testing was against God. I said, excuse me, what? I had a nun. She flat out said, Sister Barbara, oh, that woman, flat out said, yeah, no, the church does not believe with IVF because it goes against God's will. And I was like, so I can't even get genetic testing to see if I have a predisposition to Alzheimer's? And at the time, my grandfather was starting to show signs of it. And it was very upsetting to hear that, wanting to know if I or my father or anybody else in the family would be prone to that and what we could do to help was wrong in the eyes of God. That God could create this technology, could create scientists doctors, all these people with great minds to help cure these issues, but it's wrong to utilize that. So yeah, I'm excited to get to the science stuff. Like I have no words really, because it's a whole new world. I'm being shown just how wrong we were about this faith, and how rich, how deep, and just the language of it. How fluid and beautiful it is. Like, yeah, I have nothing else to say. I'm gonna go work out and think about it some more and come back to you with some more thoughts as I read through it. I told myself, gym, clean up when I get home, and we're getting through the third surah.